Hello guys, and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we've got a very classic one indeed, because we're throwing it all the way back to 2018 with one of our very first reviews. It was Warrior Rage. So we thought it was only right to pick up the newest edition and see how it compares to way back when, which from memory, I think we thought it was actually okay, considering. So how will this one fare as we cover the usuals, taste, price, label effects? Will it be any better? Is it worth picking up? Let's get into it and find out together. And if you are new here, please do hit the like button, hit the sub button, tick the bell icon. So we drop about 3 reviews a week, but let's get into this one. Okay, first segment, we've got the pleasure of trying out Savage strawberry flavour. I'll flash up on the screen any other flavours it comes in. Mixability wise, not too bad. There's a few little bits settled at the bottom, but I've got to say it's probably actually a little bit better than average, but then again it is a small serving amount, so it comes with the territory. But anyway, let's see how it tastes. Yeah, pretty damn good actually. It's quite pleasant. I can't even moan. It's very subtle. It's very, I want to say weak, but that sounds nasty if I'm calling it. It's just not a strong flavour, but it's nice. Goes down extremely easily. Probably the easiest drinking pre I've had in recent memory in terms of doability. But yeah, it's nice. It's not sour. It's a bit of sweetness to it. Ironically, it's not a very savage strawberry. I'd call it serene strawberry if it was me. It's very calm, friendly flavour. But yeah, it's pretty damn good. I'd be happy to give that an 8.5 out of 10. So it's a good start to the review. Let's move into that price point. Let's talk price. So how much are you going to be paying to pick up Warrior Rage? Well, you head over to their official website, teamwarrior.com, where you can find it on there for £17.99. Now this is the interesting part. It's a 45 serving tub. I can't even think of if we've ever seen that before. 30 servings is normally, you know, pretty damn good. So to see 45, it's mind blowing, but there is a reason for that. It's only 8.7 grams per the serving, and I won't say much more on that, we'll get into the label next. It's a very small serving amount, so that's how they've pulled it off. But I do like the fact that it is a genuine 45 servings, because when I first saw it, I thought, oh, 45 servings, all right, then it's obviously going to be half of that if you full dose it. But no, it is, they fully intend for you to use it at that 45 serving amount. So I'll give them kudos for that. So when you break it down per the serving, it works out at only 39 pennies per go, which just straight up gets a 10 out of 10 on our price scale, which measures how expensive pre-workouts are. So it's probably the cheapest pre we've had on the channel, at least in recent memory, at the very least. So extremely affordable, extremely cheap to get hold of. But what exactly are we getting hold of for that money? Let's move into the label and find out. Okay, label time, and weirdly, this is one thing that's strange. They're saying the serving size is 1.5 scoops. Why not just put a bigger scoop in the tub and then say take 1 scoop? Could be a shortage in the manufacturing facility. I just found it quite interesting because I've not seen that before. But anyway, so 8.7 gram serving amount, definitely on the lowest, definitely lower end of what you see today. Normally it's 20, 25, 30 grams per serving for a relatively decent pre. So this is on the lower end, which, you know, we'll probably start to see why it's such a cheap price point. But anyway, first up we've got creatine gluconate at 2,560 milligrams, very randomly specific. I don't know why they just didn't use monohydrate, since we all know that's the best form, or HCl if you want to avoid digestive issues. This one is still creatine at the end of the day, but it is a low dose. You like to see, probably ideally almost double that, but hey ho, we got it in there at about 2.5 grams. Creatine, you know, you guys probably know what it does. It's the most studied, effective, proven supplement ingredient, all above board one, that helps with your athletic performance, endurance, power, strength, pumps, a bit of a jack of all trades in that sense. It's just good to have in your cupboard. But anyway, we're getting it in this, so we'll take the little top up that we'll get from this, but we'd prefer a proper dose and a more superior form ideally. Then we move down to beta alanine at 1500 milligrams, again around about half what we want to see. Normally like to see 3.2 grams ideally, or if not more, to reach that saturation point quicker. Because similar to creatine, you've got to take it, and I should have mentioned this about the creatine, you have to take it daily to then build up and get those benefits. So yeah, obviously we want a larger dose so that we've got to reach that saturation point with less time. So they've probably put it in here at that dose to avoid, or mostly avoid, the itchy tingle sensation that it can give you. But yeah, it should help with your endurance by way of buffering lactic acid when you reach that saturation point. Just like I say, it will take a bit longer in this case. Then we've got sodium bicarbonate, 200 milligrams, simply going to help with your electrolyte balancing and your hydration and pumps and contractions. Then we've got a few BCAAs here, leucine, isoleucine, valine at the dosages you can see. Again, just going to scrub over these. Don't need BCAAs in a pre. BCAAs in general are pretty much pointless. The only ones we like are, or that have any use really, are full spectrum EAA supplements that have got all of them at decent dosages. The building blocks of protein obviously helps with protein synthesis, recovery, all that good stuff. Will it do anything having a few thrown in here? Probably not. Then we've got arginine alpha ketoglutarate powder at 500 milligrams. Again, a mega low dose. You'd like to see at least a few grams of this stuff, and it's quite a dated ingredient. No one really uses it anymore, but it's the sort of arginine, it should help with your pumps and endurance in the gym. Speaking of which, we've got citrulline malate up next, 2-to-1 ratio, at least they told us the ratio, 500 milligrams, pitiful dose. It more than likely won't do anything at all, but what it should do, it should help to bump up your nitric oxide levels within your bloodstream, increasing blood flow and pumps. But like I say, at that dose, probably nothing, because the minimum effective dose for that is sort of like 3 to 4 grams. So we're nowhere near even the minimum effective dose. Then we've got taurine at 500 milligrams. Again, normally like to see about a gram, but it's a jack of all trades amino. It should help with your hydration, energy production, and a bit of focus. Then we've got caffeine, 300 milligrams. Finally, an ingredient that's actually going to do something with a relatively decent dose. Probably around about the average dose of today's standard in terms of the caffeine dose, 300 milligrams. 3 to 350 is probably average, so 300, we're in there, we're around there. About 3 strong cups of coffee, you know, maybe an energy drink and a half's worth of caffeine. So it's not to be sniffed at, you will definitely feel it. And that's probably why people, your average Joe that perhaps aren't clued up too much on pre's, they might take this and think it's strong because of that 300 milligrams of caffeine. You know, it could hit newbies quite hard. But yeah, it's the main stimulant that's going to wake you up and get you moving. What do I think of the label? When it comes down to it, the only things you're actually going to really feel upon taking it is maybe a bit of beta alanine tingle and the caffeine. The rest of it, extremely minimal to no effect, to be honest. But anyway, I'll save the rest for the effects section. Okay, effects time of Warrior Rage. What do we think of it? Well, it's a tricky one because it is so damn cheap that it's hard to really sit here and complain. But at the same time, we have to complain because as a consumer, we deserve to have up-to-date ingredients dosed correctly, have the right ingredients put in the product. So it's a bit of a slippery slope. I personally would rather pay a bit more, you know, not necessarily even a lot more to fix these problems, and have a fully stacked out pre. But anyway, well, not even fully stacked out, just dosed clinically at the minimum end. But anyway, I won't get too ahead of myself. Let's start off at the beginning with that beta alanine. What do we think? So obviously it's in here at 1500 milligrams and you feel it as such. You get a bit of heating and a couple of tingles. Very mild. I would say 2, 3 out of 10 on the tingle scale. So if you don't like beta, obviously that's good news. If you love it, then that's bad news. There's that. And I think, like I said, they put it in there at that dose because they don't want people itching their eyeballs out. And the perfect example of this is ABE, their pre-workout. Tingles for days. So newbies that take it, they think it's extremely strong. It's a fantastic pre. They tell all their friends to buy it. It's cheap, tastes good. There's your winner. So that's their approach. In this case, they're putting it at a low dose to not scare off the consumer because they're aiming for beginners, which is funny because it looks all aggressive and intense, Warrior Rage. So it's a bit funny to me that they're even going after the sort of newbie audience with such an intense marketing strategy. But there we are. Energy, definitely the best thing about the product. Obviously you're gonna feel 300 milligrams of caffeine, there's just no doubt about it, unless you hoon caffeine all day, every day, then you might not. Yeah, it was good. Felt it a couple of hours, was sufficient for my gym session at hand. There's not too much else in the pre-workout to get in the way of that caffeine and confuse it, so it hits cleanly. you do feel it for, like I say, a couple of hours. There's no crash, there's no peaks or troughs. It kicks in after about 20 minutes and you're good to go. Focus, it's not really a factor. Any focus you get comes off the back of the caffeine. There's no nootropics in here, really. So, and same can be said for pumps, guys. There's not really anything in here for pumps, and therefore I didn't get any pumps from it. So what you're really buying this for is it's basically a powdered strong energy drink. There we are, with a mild beta effect. That's literally what you're paying for. And like I said earlier, it's hard to complain because it is very, very cheap. If they were charging premium prices for this, or even average prices, I would have a serious bone to pick. It's only because it's so dirt cheap, 36p, was it 39p ago? So damn cheap, you can't really complain too much, but obviously I have to some degree because it's our damn job. So yeah, at the same time, there's no negatives of this pre-workout. You know, no appetite suppression, didn't keep me up all night, although it could do with some people if you're a bit sensitive to caffeine. Yeah, no nausea, sickness, jitters, nothing nasty. It's quite a clean feeling pre-workout. It's probably one of the stronger budget-friendly ones that there are on the market though, to be honest. So yeah, who's it for? People on an extremely tight budget that mostly just want an energy kick, because that's all it's offering here. Is it better than when we reviewed it years ago? Maybe slightly. But honestly, guys, from memory, I don't think the label's even changed. So probably very, very, very similar. I'll have to, in fact, what I'll do is after this, I'll go back in the comments on our old review and I'll go through it and I'll see if we flash the label up on the screen, and then I can make some comparisons in the comments. But from memory, I think it was extremely similar to this. So I am disappointed that they haven't learned from all the reviews and feedback and clinically dosed it. Like I said, a lot of this label can just be thrown out the window. What I don't understand is why, like I said earlier, they should just put in the right ingredients at a good dose and still keep it cheap, still keep it bread and butter basics, but use ingredients that make sense and dosages that make sense. That's my only gripe. So yeah, I think that covers it all, guys. I would have to say avoid it, simply because that label is just so offensive to look at, and like I said, you're just paying for a caffeine hit essentially. I would have to say avoid it, because even though it is cheap, and you probably would struggle to find a pre-workout that's similar levels of cheap on the market, I would rather advise people to pay an extra 20-30p per serving and get a fleshed out decent pre. So that's my opinion. Avoid this one, guys. Unfortunately, it's still not there yet, but maybe one day they will pull it up to date with regards to the actual label. But here we are. It's still looking dated. It's still not good enough. It is what it is. It's just one of those pre's. But yeah, it was important to cover this one because this is going to be one that's on a lot of people's radar. In fact, a lot of people still do ask us about this and do buy it. It's probably one of the most sold pre's out there, up with the likes of ABE, because it's just so accessible. It's in all the stores, it's online everywhere, it's so cheap, it's everywhere. So it's important that we get information out on it to the consumer. But yeah, let us know if you've used it, let us know if you want to use it. Any other pre's you want to see us review on the channel, let us know down below. And as always, stay stimmed to an okay degree.